Late 1941, war-weary Britain stands alone. The Blitz rages, Nazi U-boats choke the Atlantic sea lanes, supplies dwindle. After France fell, Winston Churchill vowed to set Europe ablaze. Not with bombs, but with covert sabotage, resistance and raw cunning. To that end, he approved the creation of one of history's most audacious secret agencies, the Special Operations Executive, nicknamed behind closed doors, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. In mid-1940, Churchill and Hugh Dalton, Minister of Economic Warfare, summoned spies, saboteurs and dreamers to build a force to strike behind enemy lines, even in neutral territory. SOE's remit: espionage, sabotage, creation of resistance networks, naval raids, and most importantly, missions that broke all the rules of conventional warfare. Irregular, unconventional, ungentlemanly. By early 1942, SOE had thousands of agents, many women included, empowered to carry limpet mines, incendiary gadgets, forged papers, and go into Axis Europe to strike while masking British involvement. Among them, a small but elite raiding force was conceived, the small-scale raiding force known as SSRF. Its commander, Major Gus March Phillipps, a man of reckless courage, violent passion and unquenchable daring. Churchill's secret scissors clipped official protocols. SSRF would operate off books, no air cover, no Navy support, no warnings, just a flying unit of rogues, mavericks, foreigners. One such man was Anders Lassen, a Dane who volunteered for Britain's war effort and would become the only non-Commonwealth recipient of the Victoria Cross. Another was Geoffrey Appleyard, a shadowy type trained for commando raids, and Richard Herron, plus the enigmatic Henry Hayes, a third foundational SSRF member with nerves like tempered steel. The target: Operation Postmaster. Spring 1942. 3 Axis-owned vessels, the Italian merchant Duchessa d'Aosta, the German tug Licomba, and the barge Bibundi, moored in the harbor of Fernando Po, a Spanish colonial island in West Africa. Spain was neutral. A British incursion risked dragging Spain into Hitler's camp. Still, Churchill and SOE calculated that the reward justified the risk. SSRF first sent Geoffrey Appleyard by plane to reconnoiter. Then March Phillipps gathered his improbable crew, a cover, Swedish fishing trawler Maid of Honor. They would sail, pose as neutral fishermen, infiltrate the harbor, board the ships and sail them away, under Axis guns. Meanwhile, in Santa Isabel, capital of Spanish Guinea, a British agent, Marjorie Stewart, formerly an actress turned SOE operator, was working behind the scenes. In the movie version, she seduces the local SS commander, a fictionalized Heinrich Löhr, and helps recruit local muscle via an illicit gambling house. In reality, Stewart's role was primarily administrative and strategic, planning logistics, liaising with the mission HQ, though she did marry March Phillipps just after the raid on April 18, 1942. The operation, as depicted in the film, is riotously embellished. Seduction, reinforcements, hull-reinforcing conspiracies, but that is Hollywood hyperbole layered onto truth. Still, the essential daring, sailing into Forbidden Harbor, boarding enemy vessels by night, and slipping away under fire, is all historically real. At midnight, the team attacked. Guns silenced, doors breached, men held at bay. Limpet mines set, engines revved. The vessels were freed from their moorings. The Axis crews were stunned, some captured, some fled. The British flagged them under midnight confusion and sailed them out of the harbor. No official British vessels to claim credit, no overt violence. It was a theft conducted under cover of darkness, with almost no casualties. The operation's success stunned everyone. Britain paraded the seized ships into Lagos. Axis intelligence scrambled. Neutral Spain protested, silently. And SOE quietly absorbed SSRF's heroes into its hidden hierarchy. Britain's Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare was born in earnest. Winston Churchill personally intervened to ensure the men were not court-martialed for unauthorized action, but instead offered continued clandestine service under Brigadier Colin Gubbins, codename M. And with future spy novelist Ian Fleming loitering at their circle, SOE harnessed the momentum. March Phillipps' daring inspired multiple raids. Appleyard was second in command of the newly formed 2nd SAS under Bill Sterling. Hayes went on as a master spy who survived torture. Lassen continued notable raids until his death in 1945, and Fleming quietly tucked these covert stories under his cloak, later channeling them into James Bond adventures. Every new raid bore the imprint of the Postmaster playbook: lightweight, improvised, viciously efficient. SOE agents learned to use limpet mines, time pencils, plastic explosives, even exploding rats and sabotage suits, tools of irregular warfare pioneered by SOE's clandestine R&D labs. As the war turned in favor of the Allies, SOE's agents became the fingerprints of chaos behind Nazi lines. Regions from Norway to Yugoslavia saw SOE's support of partisan uprisings, sabotage of rail lines, fomenting dissent under cover of terror, the very heart of Churchill's vision to set Europe ablaze. But back to the heroes of Postmaster. March Phillipps married Stuart in April 1942, a brief respite before tragedy. On September 12, 1942, during Operation Aquatint, March Phillipps led a raid on the French coast. It ended disastrously. He and his men were lost. He was just 34. His death was a blow to SOE and to Stuart, left widowed and pregnant with their daughter. Born in June 1943, Appleyard's fate too ended in sorrow. In July 1943, as second in command of the 2nd SAS, he flew with paratroopers over Sicily. His plane disappeared on the return flight, probably shot down by friendly fire. He was declared missing, presumed dead. His absence marked an end of the SSRF's core leadership, yet the legacy endured. Anders Lassen earned the Victoria Cross. Henry Hayes survived torture. Many agents formed the seed of Britain's future special forces, SAS, SBS, and modern Black Ops units. Without Postmaster's precedent, without the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, there might have been no SAS, no shadows behind enemy lines, and perhaps no James Bond. Guy Ritchie's Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare film leans hard into style over strict fact. A seductive song in German, dramatic battle reinforcements, seduction plots with SS commanders. These are the director's amusements, not documented history. But beneath the glitter lies the beating marrow of truth. Fearless Brits, ignored by their own command, sailing into neutral harbors to steal enemy ships under cover of night, a theft that changed how wars were fought, a proof of concept for all shadow wars to come. In that hidden world of shadows and sabotage, Ian Fleming listened. He listened, and he filed. When the Official Secrets Act silenced Gubbins and others, Fleming turned their real adventures into fiction. James Bond was born. The ethos of the ungentlemanly warrior, infiltration, charm, explosion, escape, was crystallized in 007, and it all started with a small force that stole 3 ships in a neutral harbor in 1942. So hear this tale not as myth, but as tribute. To March Phillipps and Stuart, to Appleyard, Lassen, Hayes, to Fleming and M, to the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, a crucible that forged modern special forces, Black Ops doctrine, and legendary tales beyond any shadow. This is their story. This is the story of Operation Postmaster, of RAF-less raids, of illegal gambling houses spun into intelligence centers, of men who answered Churchill's call to fight dirty for the freedom of Europe. History is full of stories that were never meant to be told. Tales whispered in shadows, buried under official seals, forgotten in dusty archives. But now you've heard one of them. The men and women of the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare risked everything, not for glory, but for the simple hope that freedom might survive the darkness. If you believe stories like this deserve to be remembered, if you want to help uncover the forgotten chapters of our past, then join us. Hit that like button so more people discover this mission. Subscribe to the channel and become part of this operation to bring history's hidden tales back into the light. This was only one story. There are many more waiting in the shadows. We'll see you in the next mission.